All right, I'll call this meeting to order. It's Tuesday, April 15th, 2025, and we're here to review, it's 9 o'clock, and we're here to review the Opioid Settlement Fund Agreement and review the DBE policy statement. And I will turn it over to our Grants Administrator, Colleen Rosin.
Fantastic. Well, I'll start with the easy one. Hopefully it's the easy one. So the opioid settlement, I think you guys are fairly familiar with that. We have 7 different settlements. We turn that funding over to Panhandle Health to administer. Panhandle Health has a grant process for entities in the northern counties to be able to apply for grants. So money back out of that is very specific to opioid resolution. There's pretty set parameters on what that money can be used for funding certain personnel for certain tasks, opioid-related interventions, drug treatment programs, those types of things. So it has to be pretty specific to opioid and what that settlement money is to be used for, and that's been set out for quite a while. So we have our treatment court, and in 2023 we sent 7 individuals to the RISE conference, and RISE is recognized as the pinnacle of training for treatment court providers, and it has some phenomenal information, resources, networking that happens for that. So our treatment court had the opportunity to go during the 2023 RISE. They try to do that every other year, and then the off years we do to the Idaho drug. It's called ICAD, and I can't remember what the acronym is for, but that's usually down in Boise or held here in Idaho, and so that's local and regional treatment providers that happen. Well, we were on schedule to do the RISE 25 conference. We have 4 members of our treatment court who were interested in going. So we did. The grant process changed a little bit from the 23. They used to do it quarterly, so you could submit quarterly for grants. Now they only do it annually, but they do it. It's basically having to plan 2 years ahead of time. And so the RISE conference happens in May, and we don't always know who's going to be employed or when they're going to have it to be able to plan that far ahead. So through conversations with Panhandle, we were able to get this approved for them to do for this fiscal year rather than 26 for this grant. They approved us for $9,710 for 4 individuals to attend. So it will be Christy in probation, Jen, our treatment provider, and then we'll have Miss Dalla and Shannon, who are with, I believe, Heritage Health, but they're a part of our treatment court providers. So those 4 individuals will be able to go to Florida to the RISE 25 conference and participate in that. So what we're here today is to go over, if you have any questions about this, it's the exact same grant as we had done in 2023. Mm-hmm. And there's reporting and things that I do. It's every quarter I talk with treatment court, and they give me the numbers and demographics, and we report that. It's basically how well did we use it, and how is it impacting. So it's just kind of that information on that the money was used effectively, and it is having a positive impact in the county. The treatment court is in May. It's the last week of May in Kissimmee, Florida. So we've already got that ready to go and participants registered. And so today we just need to be able to sign the agreement that allows us to move forward and submit those expenses to Panhandle Health. Once that conference is completed, we'll be totally reimbursed, no match, and it's an easy tracking kind of thing.
Okay. One of the questions I have is, so this is opioid settlements that the county receives, and then we give it to Panhandle Health, and then they're basically giving it to us back as a grant. So it's really
sort of. So we've assigned all of it. The county doesn't receive any of that funding anymore. We received the first $17,000 check several years ago, mm-hmm. and then assigned it over to Panhandle Health. So all of the 7 funds that we are participating in and we have agreed to accept, it all automatically goes to Panhandle. They put it into that big pot, and they kind of touched on it in the budget conversation the other day, mm-hmm. that they have that money that's set aside because it's very specific to it. And so in a roundabout way, yes, but really they just aggregate it all, and then anybody who wants to apply for that funding from school districts, fire departments, nonprofit entities, whoever is working on the opioid crisis that we're having, they can apply to Panhandle Health. They approve that like any grant process, and then we use it.
Okay, so it's funds from other counties as well.
It's the pool.
It's
yes.
Pool. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I
Now,
understand.
we can sort of, I'm working on that, and Melissa's helping me with that as well. We have been able to get kind of the breakdown of what Shoshone County specifically has contributed to that pool, and then kind of what has come back into it. So, we do try to keep track of that. It's a little harder to get, but there are ways that we can figure that out. So we are making sure that Shoshone County is getting the full benefit of what we've turned over to Panhandle Health to manage for us.
Okay. That's all the questions I have.
And then I just have this from 2023, if Commissioner Dose wants to look at it.
Is that because we sent, I think, 6 or 7 people?
Yeah.
That was a much larger. I think that was $22,000 or $23,000 that we sent. It's going to be less because it's a different kind of setting, and so 9,700 rather than 22 for that one. A whole lot less travel expenses and lodging expenses, which add up.
And that was in Texas or something, right?
Yes, it
That's
was.
in Texas.
Correct.
Yeah, I kind of remember now.
Yeah, and the numbers reported on that coming back through the treatment court and the successes was pretty phenomenal. I know what people gathered from that, just talking to probation and Judge Oxendine and the different people that attended it. The information and the resources that you're able to get from these is phenomenal. It's just something that our little county benefits for tenfold for what they get out of the conferences.
And you said it was Rise that puts it on?
All Rise for Justice, I think, is the name of the organization. It's called Rise, and then whatever year. So this year is Rise 25.
Okay. Any further questions? No. I'd entertain a motion to approve or disapprove.
I'll make a motion to approve the opioid settlement fund agreement with Panhandle Health District, a grant award amount $9,710.
Second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Motion carried.
And those. I'll have this and the W-9, and I'll have you sign in now.
Okay.
The next is our DBE. So DBE is Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. It is basically any business in Shoshone County qualifies as a DBE because we are an economically disadvantaged community, our county. It is by receiving federal Department of Transportation funding, and we do have a separate reporting and things that we do for the bus because we get DOT funding for that. Today it's specific about a policy that we are implementing or re-implementing, I guess, for FAA. So this is a part of getting back into the cycle of getting the FAA grants for the airport, making sure that we're doing the maintenance and the fencing, the things that we have from there. So I've sat down with Ardor, with Trey and Wayne, and we've gone over the policy itself, what it's requiring, where it came from, what is our responsibilities and what is their responsibilities as the contractor, and what this means for the county. So this is basically just a cut and paste from the FAA that says we want you to have these specific things. It's governed by CFR 49, Section 23, that's specific to the airports. So the county is under that because we receive federal funding for our airport. And so that's the federal ruling that talks about transportation in that manner. So what's before you today is a rather lengthy and wordy, very federalese kind of policy that just says we're going to seek businesses who are qualified as disadvantaged business enterprise, which means basically, we have some great contractors here. I don't know if they're on the list yet. We're putting that together, but who are absolutely qualified. The terminology that I really like, and hopefully it resonates with you guys as well, is that it gives Shoshone County the ability to evaluate things case by case and establish that our local businesses who are qualified under the DBE can accept these. So there's some verbiage in federal procurement and certain funding that you cannot do any geographic preferences. You have to do this. Everybody gets a chance, whether they're Washington, Montana, Idaho, Shoshone County, doesn't matter. This is the way it is. Where this pulls that in, because now we can do locally sourced if they qualify under the DBE, because we are in a disadvantage. So it gives you guys the opportunity to do more with local businesses who qualify for this and who come in under the procurement. It also, and this is one that made me happy, Shoshone County, when feasible, unbundles projects by separating large contracts into smaller contracts suitable for small business participation. So we've had that conversation of a project is a project, and so you have to do this huge thing. If it is feasible and it makes sense, then we can break that up into it, and it doesn't become any kind of procurement issues, because it makes sense under the DBE. There's some justification that we do, but again, it allows for projects to be bid out by our local companies, and it puts them in a better position. And there's several different things that the federal government does, like PTAC, which gives small businesses, they do a set aside of, I think it's 3% of all federal awards can be bid on with preferential treatment by these small businesses, and that's managed through SBA. But this is specific to the airport and our local businesses. So that's really a super condensed version of what the DBE policy is. It's just required by FAA. There is another section of this policy, which you would have received, that's the goals.
Yeah.
And so this gives you just a little bit more information on the funding that we're seeking and the methodology for the goals. So you can kind of see why we're doing and where that money is going. So we have the three-year working for $1.3 million that will be airport improvements, the fencing, fixing the runway, and different projects that are going on from there. And this is how they break that down and justify that a certain amount will be awarded to DBEs. So this is just the methodology of how we got to it. But it gives you an idea of the funding that we're going after as well. So it's not small stuff.
What I looked at that, and what I'd kind of like to do is see if we can get a list of contractors up here.
Ardura has that.
Ardura has that?
Yep. They maintain that and they go after it. Because there's some...
Do they send the notices out, or should we... I would kind of like to have the their emails in with our agenda notice. So maybe when we do these contracts like that, we can do an extra notice just to, whatever we send to the paper, we can send out. Because a lot of people aren't reading the paper, because the paper's getting to be kind of a dinosaur when it comes to noticing. And so I think if we can get them to register with our agenda noticing, we can start using our agenda noticing for more things rather than just the agenda.
Absolutely. And we are required to post things on our website. And so the airport has its section on our website. And we've already posted that this is going out there. So that's a part of it, as well as we do the web as well.
Is it posted? Is our, because we're going to have a chip seal job out there at the airport right now.
So that'll be next when we actually go into the contracting phase. I'm going to go out to procurement and start doing that.
Okay. Right now it's just are we going to see if we can get it posted on our website?
Absolutely. We'll always post those things because FAA checks that. So we're going to want to make sure that we're posting everything on our airport section of the county website.
So who deals she'll do the airport?
She'll post everything.
Post on the airport.
Yeah. So we work with Ardura, Trey and Wayne do all of that, and they'll get us all of the verbiage and everything that we need to, because that's part of what they're doing as the contractors.
To do the notice in the newspaper.
Correct.
So we can just cut and paste that.
Exactly the same. And so we'll have that where it goes digital, where Sydney will put it out on the website. It goes into the paper, because there is that. And when you're in these when the contractors are in this world, they know where to go. So they are actually searching papers and digital copies. They know to go watch those things.
Okay.
So if they're on those lists, they know what to do. They've had that training and they understand if I'm not watching these, I'm not going to get a chance to bid on these projects. So they're well versed in that.
Okay. All right, that's about all the questions I have regarding the DBE. You guys have any questions on it?
Not at this time.
No, I just think that that's a great thing for our local small businesses.
I agree.
Good opportunity.
Yeah. And I would encourage that our small business, coming from economic development in the years with that, when I was going out and doing PTAT training and those kind of things, I would definitely encourage and ask you guys to encourage any small businesses that you run across that have those. Are you federally contracted? Can you compete for these? And just start poking all of our business, because we have some phenomenal small businesses who can do some pretty intricate projects, and they may or may not be in those government contracting lists, so they may be missing out on some of those opportunities.
Okay. All right. I would entertain a motion to approve the DBE contract.
Also move.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's finished.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And no further questions. We're adjourned.